Hey, so what's going on, everyone? Mick here again, coming back to you guys with another video. So basically, like I promised last time, I know a few people saw the last video, and since I said I would do this one, I am going to. And here it is. I got a couple minutes. I've been already running around this morning, doing a few things for the store, for Gamers Club. Basically, if you see the title of this is not an apology. This is not but at the same time, it's not something to fuel anything or try to put my family in a better light. It's not about redeeming us. It's not, but it's also not about you know admitting guilt. But at the same time, it's not something so that I don't want to keep the conflict going. I'm not trying to restart anything. It's just a quick breakdown, basically. So for those of you who may have not known, a couple of months ago, we had a dispute at the store, basically between me and what eventually became my family and these illegal street vendors that set up close to our business. The the short end of it, I mean, is that they got confused and they took some things that we said and actually didn't say and made a bigger deal out of things that we didn't actually even say and blew it out of proportion. So basically, part of what they had said that we said was that we had problem with illegal street vendors because they were illegal immigrants, and that was totally not the case. What it was, basically from my end, we I was taking some initiative in having these illegal street vendors removed, solely because of the for the purpose of having more parking available for our customers. That was it. That was basically it. All I wanted to do was remove these illegal street vendors through the appropriate means. I wasn't going to go and you know, dispute with anybody. I wasn't trying to yell at anyone. All I did was take some pictures because if anybody knows that, when you're trying to file a case or make an argument, you need proof. And that's all I was doing. I was on a public street and I took some pictures of all these little things that they set up on the sidewalk, all the stuff that they leave on the sidewalk, and all these canopies because the city had even approached me to remove my canopies, right? Because I used to place a canopy. For those of you who don't know, I try to do something for my community where I let kids come in and play like Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Pokemon cards and have them play outside. And it just isn't even possible for me because I follow the rules. When you go through the appropriate channels all the time, the rules will sometimes come back and bite you. So at the time, yeah, I was a little bit bitter. Like, hey, I'm over here trying to do things for these kids. I'm trying to do things that are good for my community. And I get hit by the city for them. And these guys who do this like constantly, illegally, nobody tells them anything. They do, but it's just harder and harder. And this isn't to push my any agenda, right wing, or left wing. No, no, no. All it is just, how I see things. So, it's just harder and harder for someone who goes through the appropriate channels to have these people removed and have them be moved along and stuff. Granted, I totally agree that sometimes, the city will go with a little too far and throw all their stuff away, but maybe the city needs to find better ways to deal with them, and maybe what they've done in the past might be too harsh, you know, might not be. I don't know. I can't be the judge of that. Not anymore. And so that's what it basically was. The city, because I used to set up during the week a canopy on the sidewalk when the street vendors weren't around. The city came down and told me, hey, you need to remove that canopy. And I see all weekend long, starting from Friday, these people set up like canopies and set up on the sidewalk and sell all this stuff like yard sale, just full on, just you know basically little mini stores on the sidewalk. And yeah, at the time I was a little bit like, hey man, how is that fair? How is it fair that I do all these things and I'm always trying to do the right thing and I'm always taking that extra step? Why is it that following the rules, you have to go, you get hit and threatened with fines on top of all the taxes and all these things that I already contribute to the system? Why do I have to, be harassed by the city, and people that aren't following the rules, they get away with it? So at the time, yeah, I was a little bit bitter. But not really, not personally with anybody. It wasn't about their illegal vending because I don't really care what people do. That's not my concern. However, when it does affect my business and my money, then I do get a little bit concerned. And that's what they were doing, because what they do is they'll start setting up from Friday all the way till Sunday evening and take up all the parking. And my customers constantly complain that they can't come. And now I've lost many of them, not solely because of the fact of our product, because that's just not true. It's because people tell us all the time when they do finally get to, they're like, no, we don't come around, and it's really hard for us to even come in or come by or swing by or whatever because of the parking situation. There's no parking here, and people need shoes, which is one of our main business. These lower end shoes, and we've never claimed that they're high end, that they're not nice shoes. No, they're low end party shoes, so that people can just waste a couple dollars and not feel bad about them if they it's for a party, a one-time party thing or whatever. That's all they're for. And so these vendors, they take up all the parking 3 days out of the week. 3 days which are actually very essential for us. And so I wanted to do something, but I took pictures in a public sidewalk. I went out and I just took pictures. That's all I did. The evening that I did that, 3 people walked into my store, right? And now this is a privately owned business. This is not a public business. And they walked in and started taking pictures of me without my permission. See, to me, and legally, there is a difference between you going out on the sidewalk and taking pictures of people and you walking into somebody's store that they own and start taking and filming pictures of them. These people ran in there not knowing, what if I hadn't spoke Spanish? What if I didn't know? What if I wasn't trained? Because I'm armed all the time. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm armed all the time. I keep a weapon with me. However, I am very well trained and I know what to do and I know how to assess situations to not draw my weapon on people. However, how about if it had been somebody else who isn't as well trained, who doesn't know how to assess situations on the level that I do? And it would have been something much more extreme, because these people came in yelling. They came in, badgering. They came in with a very negative attitude. And so had I not known how to assess the situation, it could have escalated very quickly. Luckily, it didn't come to that. I'm much more well-trained than that. And then it escalated from that. And so, which is why I started this Facebook Live session right at that moment. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't want people, if anything escalates and I do have to do something, then people can kind of know, what's going on. Basically, that I didn't start anything. I didn't want to put my hands on anyone. However, they were being very disrespectful. And mind you, I didn't engage them on a personal level. I didn't go and tell them anything. I didn't say a word to them. All I did was take some pictures on a public sidewalk. At no point did I engage anyone, yell at them, or say anything to them. I didn't harass them or anything. Then, I start the Facebook Live. And they're like saying things. And if you saw that video, one of the guys actually starts threatening me. And at the moment, I knew that it was empty threats. However, once you disrespect me, or once you disrespect anybody in their own place of business, and what basically is my home, then I no longer have to engage you in a respecting manner. if you know me, if people know me, it's not because I have never been ashamed, nor have I ever denied my ancestry or my, racial or ethnic denomination. I've never denied what I am, who I am, and I've never tried to hide it. I've never been ashamed of it. However, if you know me, if you've spoken to me, you know, and you could basically assess and come to the conclusion that it's easier for me, and I can very much so communicate my thoughts in a much more intricate manner in English than I can in Spanish. It's not because of anything, it's just the way my life has been. It's been, I can't explain it. It's just, that's just how I am. It's not because of anything. There's nothing specific to it. I just can, convey my thoughts, even in a heightened emotional level, especially in a heightened emotional level, something like that, in a situation like that, I'm going to be able to rationalize my thoughts a lot faster if I don't have to take that extra split second to translate everything that I'm thinking into Spanish. One. And two, I no longer have to respect people who come in to what is basically my home and engage them in whatever language that they want me to. I don't have to anymore. You're being disrespectful to me in my home. No matter what your argument is, you're not in your house. You're in my house. So how dare you want me to engage you in a manner that's more comfortable to you? It's more comfortable to you, but why should I make someone more comfortable in my home, in my business, where I own it, where no one else tells me what to do? I didn't start a business for me to work for people. I started it so that I could work for myself, that I could do things for myself. That doesn't mean that I'm better or that I think that I'm better than anyone. No, no, no. All it is that I respect people, patrons. They didn't come in to buy anything. So they didn't come in to buy anything. They came in to yell at me. They came in to disrespect me in a language where it's not harder for me to speak Spanish, but it is easier for me to engage people in English. It's just a simple fact. That's how my life is. I don't know why it is. It's just, that's the way my life has been. So these people got upset that I would no longer engage them in Spanish. But why would I? Why should I? I don't have to anymore. And so, the thing that I made a mistake in was engaging them across the street. Because if anybody knows where the store is, there's a library right across the street. And I told the guy, I'm like, hey, look, man, you need to delete the picture you took of me. That's crazy. Why are you running into my business? And yes, I should not have. But however, at the moment, I was a little bit upset. I was upset. I'll admit to that. And I have never not admitted to that. I was upset and I engaged them again on the sidewalk. See, but I didn't go to their home. I didn't follow them. I didn't go anywhere. All I did was cross the street after I had closed my business down, after I had shut the doors, everything. I'm going home and I see them across the street and they're still talking. And then I engaged them. That was my mistake, engaging them again, right? And so my mom sees this because she's coming to pick me up from work, right? She doesn't like me walking home by myself at times. And so she came to pick me up coincidentally. She didn't always do that, especially not then. But just on that night, however, she happened to roll by. And she sees, 4 grown adults arguing with me. So at that moment, she begins to, engage them. And I believe rightfully so. If anybody who's a parent, I'm not obviously, but if you're a parent and you see 4 grown people arguing with your son, and you know what they're doing, you don't like to begin with, and it's affecting your business, then of course you're going to engage them, and not in a very rational manner, not in a hey, let's sit down, have some crumpets and tea kind of manner. No, these people are upsetting you, and they're arguing with your son. And so at one moment, one of them starts to record us, right? And my mom puts it on Facebook Live. She's like, if you can record, I can record too. That's what my mom tells the lady who's recording. And so they start telling her, like, hey, you know, your son was taking pictures. She's like, yeah, well, we're trying to build a case. And then my mom tells her, the lady who's recording us, she yells out, we don't want you here. What you guys do is illegal. The person recording my mom responds to her, remember, at one point you were illegal too. However, if you listen to the words, at no point did my mom make a case or, you know, she wasn't talking about her legal status or whether the person herself was legal or illegal as far as immigration or anything like that. What she was talking about was illegal vending. What they were doing was illegal. The person recording my mom twisted the words and heard what she wanted to hear and felt insulted, felt some sort of way, saying that at one point my mom too was illegal. That wasn't what we were arguing about. That wasn't what we were talking about at all. How did it come to that?